is SMNI News Channel. Truth that matters.
Good evening, Philippines, and good day, world. I'm Vhal Divinagracia. It's Friday, the 25th of August, and you're watching Newsline World. We're here to bring you the top stories we've gathered from all over the globe. First, Pastor Apollo C. Kibuloy and SMNI News Channel receives more accolades from various award-giving bodies. The BRICS summit in South Africa has concluded with big-time results, including the expansion of the economic bloc, and many experts shared their perspectives on the significance of BRICS as a platform for multilateralism. In Japan, the country's Environment Ministry has begun collecting seawater samples following the start of the release of treated radioactive wastewater from the crippled Fukushima nuclear power plant. President Vladimir Putin gave his condolences to the families of those who died on Wagner boss Yevgeny Prigozhin's plane after it crashed in Russia. And the EU's biggest wildfire in Greece and blazes continues to rage for the sixth day amid strong winds in hot, dry conditions. This and more for tonight's edition of Newsline World. In the news, wildfires continue raging in Greece's Rhodope region around Komotini for the sixth day despite continuous efforts by firefighters, and the fires are still not under control. Here's my report. Thousands of acres have been charred and many homes of local residents have burned down. The blaze is spreading across the country's northeast regions for the sixth day and has approached the Dia and the Rhodope Mountains. EU Commissioner for Crisis Management Yanis Lenarsek described the wildfires as the largest on record the EU has faced. According to local media reports, Greece has been plagued by multiple wildfires in recent days, resulting in the loss of 20 lives, 18 of them in the country's northeast regions. The largest blaze is located in the northeast region, while another huge fire has erupted on the northwestern outskirts of Athens. Local media reports in Greece said there are about 500 firefighters involved in extinguishing the fires, including soldiers from the Czech Republic, Bulgaria, and Romania. Reporting for Newsline World, this is Vhal Divinagracia, SMNI News. Japan's Environment Ministry began to collect seawater samples around the Fukushima Daiichi power plant. Kent Hashimoto files this report.
The Environment Ministry of Japan began to gather seawater samples around the Fukushima Daiichi power plant after releasing the radioactive water yesterday. With the collected seawater, Japan plans to examine the level of tritium. Tritium is a radioactive isotope of hydrogen that causes harmful effects to the human body. The plant operator TEPCO personally monitored the actual collections of seawater and expects the release of the results by next Friday. According to the Industry Minister Yasutoshi Nishimura, who inspected the utility sector, they will immediately release important details to the public for transparency after China suspends seafood imports from Japan after the release of contaminated wastewater. In addition, Nishimura also said the government of China immediately asked for the latest import restrictions in the trade ministers meeting in the group of 20 countries that was held in India last Thursday. In order to continue its monitoring, the Environment Ministry sent sea vessels this Friday morning to collect seawater samples in locations 50 kilometers away from the Fukushima power plant. On the other hand, TEPCO plans to collect seawater 3 kilometers away from the plant for 1 month. Ijo Hashimoto Kento, Nihon kara hokoku itashimashita. SMNI News, Japan.
Fisher folks and civic groups in South Korea have promised to defend the marine environment as well as their own rights and interests until the end against the treated radioactive wastewater discharge plan of Japan. Kim Sung has the details.
Japan began releasing the nuke-polluted water from the crippled Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant into the Pacific Ocean on Thursday, despite international and local opposition. Meanwhile, Tokyo Electric Power Company, or TEPCO, the plant's operator, insists that it plans to carry out the first round of discharge over 17 days to dump 7,800 tons of radioactive wastewater. Meanwhile, CCTV Plus reports say that at one of the major aquatic markets with around 500 stalls in ancient South Korea, some customers are busy stockpiling seafood products amid fears of the wastewater discharge. However, more people have adopted a cautious attitude, and various seafood gift boxes in the said market, one of the best-selling products during the Mid-Autumn Festival, are not selling at all right now. The Mid-Autumn Festival originated from China and is celebrated by various countries, including South Korea. The said festival falls on September 29th this year. Many fish vendors and merchants expressed their worries due to the discharge plan. Both the price and sales volume of abalone fell sharply long before Japan finalized the discharge date, leaving many loan operators unable to make ends meet, and now there is no hope of any recovery. In Wando County in province of South Jeolla, South Korea, where abalone production accounts for more than 70% of the nation's total, the number of abalone farmers filing for bankruptcy has surged, and some operators are eager to sell their farms at half of the original price. Meanwhile, civic activists have gathered in front of the Japanese embassy in Seoul and the Japanese consulate general in Busan for 2 consecutive days and said their protests and demonstrations will only become more intense if Japan keeps processing the wastewater discharge plan. South Korea's National Federation of Fisheries Cooperatives is also working with Japanese peers to intervene in the ocean discharge while filing a lawsuit against TEPCO and seeking compensation from the government of Japan. Seoul, Kim Sang-imnida, SMNI News, South Korea.
6 new member countries have been added to the BRICS bloc of developing economies. The decision to expand membership came at the BRICS meetings in Johannesburg. CGTN's Sunye has more.
South Africa's President Ramaphosa has announced that 6 new members are joining the BRICS mechanism. That's including Argentina, UAE, Iran, Egypt, Ethiopia, and Saudi Arabia. And the 6 new members will become full members of the BRICS mechanism starting next year, January the 1st. It's a cause for celebration for the 6 countries, and in the words of Chinese President Xi Jinping, the expansion is in the common interest of emerging economies and developing countries. He said it will give the BRICS even more vitality and contribute to world peace and development. South Africa, the host country for the Johannesburg summit, is elated.
We are very happy to see other African countries joining the BRICS forum. We've seen Ethiopia and Egypt. We want to thank those quite progressive countries that are growing and are working hard to grow their economies. And we believe that also will strengthen the implementation of the Africa Free Trade Agreement.
This BRICS summit has put synergy between BRICS countries and the African continent front and center. And many African countries have pointed to developing alongside China the ideal way forward.
E nesse quadro, julgamos que o modelo que a China representa é o modelo que interessa aos países africanos. É um modelo, digamos, em que o fator de dominação e exploração não está tão presente. E isso é muito importante para nós. De facto, nós queremos que o diálogo político se intensifique, que o ambiente de negócios seja cada vez melhor, que o investimento direto chinês em África traga benefícios mútuos, quer para a China, quer para a Guiné-Bissau e os países africanos, quer para os respectivos empresários. Portanto, gostaríamos que deste diálogo político nasça uma relação comercial e económica forte, ganham-ganham, em que todos ganham e efetivamente resolvemos os problemas dos nossos povos.
This, as Chinese President Xi Jinping also calls in his speech for developing countries to join hands to write a new chapter of unity, cooperation, and development together. Sun Ye, CGTN, Johannesburg.
Following the conclusion of the BRICS summit, several experts shared their perspectives on the significance of BRICS as a platform for multilateral cooperation and its increasing impact on the global economy. Let's hear what they have to say.
The fact that you have so many other countries who are eager to join the BRICS group of countries as well, it shows the influence that BRICS has developed over the past few years. There's a yearning by countries that they want to move away from being controlled by certain countries in the world, that we need to come together and provide solutions together. Otherwise, if we still have only certain countries that's dominant, it's not going to help with the development, and especially South-South cooperation.
So I think that the BRICS cooperation is very important for the global economy. If we look simply at numbers, which I'm sure you are aware of, but if we look at the GDP of these countries, the 5 nations of BRICS, which is about 26 trillion, and we look at the population that they comprise of globally, you start to understand that they must have a huge impact on the world economy. Now, it would be folly not to have any cooperation with a bloc that comprises almost 37% of the global population. And as I said, the GDP is sitting at about 26 trillion US dollars. That is huge by any, in any language. So they play a huge role. So I would say that given the numbers that we know, given the experience in terms of their development, that knowledge and that knowledge should be used to assist in the development trajectory of the rest of the developmental world. So it's important that the BRICS organization as it is able to have a positive impact on the rest of the world's development trajectory.
Brazil, China, and the other BRICS countries, they have signed an economic strategy and also a technology strategy in the past years. And actually in 2021, when China was hosting the BRICS summit, the BRICS established the BRICS partnership, a new industrial revolution, and innovation and cooperation in the industrial field. And 2 years before, when Brazil, for its turn, was hosting the BRICS, there were initial discussions amongst the BRICS ministers of environment on 2 mechanisms to facilitate the transfer and the financing of green technologies in the bloc. So I believe there are many initiatives and ideas in their early stages that need to be further developed and implemented. And in doing so, there could be many opportunities to enhance partnerships and investments in Brazilian manufacturing and green and high technology sectors.
The 5 BRICS countries, China, Brazil, Russia, India, and South Africa, are emerging as a global economic powerhouse. The countries are injecting impetus into the world economy via their unique economic development models. Sunshine Bu has the details.
BRICS refers to the 5 emerging market economies of Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. They play an important role in the global economy and each has a unique economic growth model. China adopts an export-oriented economic model. It has become the world's largest exporter of goods and manufacturing production center. The reform and opening policy was implemented to attract foreign investment and technology to promote rapid economic growth. China especially focuses on its domestic market and is strengthening the driving force of domestic demand and consumption. Brazil's economic growth model is mainly driven by exports of agriculture, mineral resources, and energy. And the nation is one of the world's largest exporters of agricultural products. Dominated by energy exports, Russia is the world's largest exporter of natural gas and an important exporter of oil. The country is known for its heavy industry, including military, aerospace, and nuclear energy. Economic growth in India is mainly led by the services sector, especially information technology and business services. The sector makes up a major proportion of the country's economy. South Africa's economic growth engines are diversified, including mining, manufacturing, financial services, and tourism. South Africa is the largest economy in Africa and is rich in its mineral and agricultural resources. With a focus on promoting inclusive economic growth, reducing poverty and inequality, South Africa is strengthening investment in infrastructure and education. Su Xinbo, CGTN, Beijing.
Pastor Apollo C. Kibuloy encouraged the public to observe the benefits of BRICS, as whatever the powerful economies offer will surely be supported by the people if it proves to be beneficial. Hannah Jane Sancho has the details.
Let's see what the impact on us will be, whether the rise of BRICS and multipolarity in the world will be helpful or not. These are the words of Pastor Apollo C. Kibuloy of the Kingdom of Jesus Christ when asked about his opinion on the world entering a multipolar era. BRICS, an economic bloc composed of Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, convened in Johannesburg, South Africa on Tuesday for the 15th BRICS Leaders Summit.
So, malaki ito kasi 41% of the world's population, malaki yun. Nasasakop ng BRICS, no? 31.5% of global gross domestic product, GNP. Malaki yun. And 16% of global trade. So, let us see how it will come out, and it will be in that order where people would rally to it or would reject it. So, according to the common good that it might bring to the world.
According to the good pastor, people will likely support BRICS if it is proven to be beneficial, especially since the organization is also promoting the New Development Bank, which intends to challenge the dominance of the US dollar.
Yung tao kasi, kung ano man ang lumilitaw ng mga kapangyarihang ganyan, ang iniisip ng tao kung ano yung magiging epekto para sa kanila. Kung ang epekto nito ay maganda, didikit ang tao dyan. Kasi may hahambing na sila . Ngayon, unipolar, Amerika, ang pinakamakapangyarihan sa lahat. Gumagana sa buong mundo. Ito, emerging. Anong may i-offer nito? Na iba sa na-i-offer na nito. Tingnan natin sa mga susunod na panahon.
According to Pastor Apollo, people always consider whether this will be significantly contribute to their country, way of life, and themselves.
Will it help me or not help me? Will it promote me or not promote me? Will it be profitable for me or not? Whatever it is that these powers are offering to the world, it always redounds to the thinking of how it will be profitable for me, for my country, for me personally. How it can be profitable for me. How can it progress me? Iyon palagi ang nasa utak ng tao.
To recall, China's President Xi Jinping called for the expansion of BRICS and the establishment of a fair and orderly international order. The BRICS summit was attended by leaders who are members of the organization, except for Russian President Vladimir Putin, who opted to join virtually and sent Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov as his representative. Forgotten my beloved country, this has been Hannah Jane Sancho, SMNI News.
Pastor Apollo C. Kibuloy on Thursday urged the Commission on Human Rights to first condemn the human rights violations perpetrated by communist terrorist groups before denouncing the drug war of the Duterte administration. Ina Mortel reports.
The International Criminal Court, or ICC's investigation into the alleged human rights abuses committed by the Duterte administration in its war on drugs continues to be a recurring topic.
Amen. Praise the Father.
This was stated by Pastor Apollo Sikibel in his program Give Us This Day last Thursday, where he answered the question about his perspective on the planned cooperation of the Commission on Human Rights with the ICC. CHR Chairperson Richard Palpalatok said the Commission is willing to share the evidence it has gathered with the ICC. Meanwhile, Pastor Apollo said that the country's leaders themselves want to break away from the ICC.
Kahit ang Pangulo natin ay nagsabing, we are cutting off ties with ICC. Yes. Mga senador natin, mga congressmen natin, lahat ng mga narito ay ayaw nila na pakialaman tayo ng ICC. Bakit? Kasi tayo ay isang republikang may mga batas na pinatutupad.
The good pastor also defended the campaign against illegal drugs by former President Rodrigo Duterte, saying he saw legitimacy in the steps taken by the former president.
Pangulong Duterte, inutusan ba niya mag-abuso kayo? Walang inutos na gano'n. Sabi ba ng Pangulong Duterte, sige patayin mo yan. Meron ba siyang inutos na gano'n? Ang narinig kong inutos niya you have to do your job in this crusade against drugs. If your life is put in danger, you have to defend yourself. You know? Siyempre, may mga nagkaputukan, barilan, tulad ngayon. May ilang bilyong worth of drugs na sabat. Makikipagputukan talaga yung mga drug lords doon. Yung mga dadala ng drugs. Sa illegitimate encounter, namamatay sila.
Furthermore, according to Pastor Apollo, the Commission on Human Rights does not intervene in the human rights violations of the communist terrorist groups CPP, NPA, NDF.
Itong Commission on Human Rights, hindi naman pinakikialaman ang human rights violation ng CPP, NPA, NDF. Saan maraming namatay? Sa CPP, NPA, NDF terrorist group o sa drug war na ang pakay ay iligtas ang kabataan at ang lahat ng taong Pilipinas para hindi masira sa drug at maging zombie nation tayo.
Pastor Apollo emphasized that the CHR should prioritize addressing the violence of the communist terrorist groups, and he believes that the Commission should be the first to condemn their actions.
Dapat tutukan ng CHR muna ang abuso ng CPP, NPA terrorist group na napakaraming abuses na ginawa. Pamamaslang ng mga inosente hanggang ngayon. At ang panununo, pambobomba at pang-aabuso. Wala tayong naririnig sa CHR.
Recall that the Anti-Terrorism Council designated the CPP, NPA, and NDF as terrorist organizations under ATC Resolutions number 12 and 21 respectively, pursuant to Anti-Terrorism Act of 2020. The Philippine government has been at war with the CPP, NPA, and NDF for more than 5 decades. The terrorist organization has committed numerous human rights violations, including murder, kidnapping, and extortion. For God in my beloved Philippines, this has been Ina Mortel, SMNI News.
Meanwhile, Australia expressed willingness to work more closely with the Philippines by increasing joint patrols in the South China Sea. Shina Selim reports.
Australian Defence Minister Richard Marles said Canberra plans to increase bilateral activities in the South China Sea as part of security efforts. Marles made a statement on Friday as he observed military exercises with President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. More than 2,000 Australian and Philippine defense personnel are participating in joint military drills near the contested territory, which involve amphibious landing and aerosol drills. Dubbed Exercise Alon 2023, the military drills kicked off in Darwin, Australia on August 14 and ends on August 31, with some of the activities held in the Philippine waters. Exercise Alon marked first ever joint amphibious training between Australia and the Philippines. Meanwhile, Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese will visit the Philippines from September 7 to 8, 2023, making him the first sitting Prime Minister to visit the Southeast Asian country in 20 years. Marles said Canberra wants to elevate the relationship with the Philippines to a strategic partnership, along with plans to hold more formal talks in Australia in 2024. Reporting from New South Wales, this is Shina Selim, SMNI News, Australia.
Russian President Vladimir Putin has broken his silence following the Wagner Group chief's apparent death in the plane crash. Kaya Villan has the details.
A tragedy. This is how Russian President Vladimir Putin described the plane crash when asked about the incident that reportedly killed Wagner chief Yevgeny Prigozhin. Putin sent his condolences to the families of the victims of the incident and described Prigozhin as a man who made serious mistakes in his life but also got results for himself as well as for the common cause. Russian authorities are currently investigating the plane crash that occurred about 2 months since Prigozhin led a short-lived armed rebellion against the Russian military. Putin has mixed praises for Prigozhin. He called the Wagner chief a talented businessman who worked in Russia as well as Africa when it comes to oil, gas, gems, and other precious metals. The Russian president made the remarks while in a meeting with Donetsk People's Republic head Denis Pushilin. Circumstances surrounding the plane crash that also killed high-level Wagner officials led to speculations that they were allegedly assassinated. Meanwhile, Putin said that Russia will never forget the significant contributions of Prigozhin and all the Wagner forces who fought against neo-Nazis in Ukraine. To recall, Putin released a brief video address during the Prigozhin-led Wagner rebellion last June 23 to 24. In the video, Putin did not mention Prigozhin by name, but he accused the organizers of the rebellion of betraying the country, the Russian people, and those who were drawn in the crime. Kai Villan reporting, SMNI News.
The leader of the opposition party in Sweden urged the government to send fighter jets to Ukraine to boost the country's air capabilities against Russia. Cablelink Trindade files this report.
Swedish Social Democratic Party leader and former Prime Minister Magdalena Andersson said that Sweden must send JAS Gripen fighter jets to Ukraine after Norway and some EU countries announced they would be sending F-16 fighter jets. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky met with Swedish Prime Minister Ulf Kristersson on Saturday to discuss the possibility of receiving the advanced multi-role fighter aircraft. Zelensky has repeatedly asked Sweden to send JAS Gripen planes to be used by the Ukrainian armed forces. Made by Swedish car manufacturer Saab, JAS 39 Gripen is considered one of the best fighter jets in the world and often compete with other global fighter planes such as the US F-35 Joint Strike Fighter, the Eurofighter Typhoon, and the French Rafale jets. Denmark and the Netherlands have both agreed to send F-16 jets, while Norway could soon send F-16s to Ukraine. Sweden earlier this year has pledged to give Ukrainian pilots the opportunity to test its Saab-made Gripen fighter, but the Swedish government has also said it needs all its planes to defend Swedish territory. The Nordic country has sent a total of 13 military aid package worth roughly 20 billion crowns to Ukraine since the start of the war. This has been Cablelink Trinidad, SMNI News.
In other news, the new leadership of the Technical Education and Skills Development Authority, or TESDA, has introduced a way to address the issue of job mismatch in the country. Here's MJ Mondihar with the report.
The problem of job mismatch has persisted still in the Philippines until now. Job mismatch is a situation in the workforce where an individual has a job that doesn't match their abilities or education. To solve this, TESDA has come up with solutions. In an interview with TESDA Chief Suharto Taimangudadatu during the launch of the National Technical Education and Skills Development Plan, he mentioned that they will use a community-driven approach to provide free skills training.
Ano meron sa community, yun ang ituturo natin. Halimbawa, nandito tayo sa Makati. Anong meron sa Makati dito? High-rise building. So tuturuan natin sila na may skills sa high-rise building.
Mangudadatu also mentioned a high demand in the construction sector due to the Build Better More program of the administration. Therefore, if there's a job mismatch, TESDA will counter it with a demand-driven approach.
May subway tayo. Meron na kaming preparation for the courses or qualification for the subway in the next 5 to 10 years. Pinaghahandaan din namin yun.
Mangudadatu also mentioned the TESDA sa Barangay program, where 10 instructors will be trained in each municipality. These trained instructors will then go around the municipality to teach what they've learned from TESDA training. In highly urbanized cities, a different set of skills will be taught.
ay tuturuan namin sila yung basic life. Yung pinaka-basic ng TESDA ay yung paano ka matuto. Una-una, yung maging electrician ka. Para mismo sa barangay ninyo, may electrician na doon. Maging vulcanizing ka, para naman yung mga tricycle, kung sa mga highly urbanized, we are offering the NC3 and the NC4, which we called it, yan yung mga robotics, semiconductors, micro-credential, ITBAP.
TESDA is also committed to not neglecting agriculture-related skills training. For additional information, simply visit TESDA's official website and social media accounts. For Ganamable of Philippines, MJ Mondihar, SMNI News.
Several world leaders congratulated the new Prime Minister of Thailand after his election officially ended 3 months of political deadlock. Anisa de Guzman reports.
Real estate tycoon and Phua Thai party candidate Sreta Tawisin received a lot of messages from world leaders who congratulated on his election as the 30th Prime Minister of Thailand. Among the well-wishers was Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who is looking forward to take the India-Thailand bilateral relations to a higher level. Meanwhile, North Korean Premier Kim Dok-hoon has sent a congratulatory letter, while His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, Vice President, Prime Minister, and ruler of Dubai also relayed his greetings. Other well-wishers include Singaporean Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong, Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken, as well as the European Union. Thai lawmakers elected 61-year-old real estate tycoon and developer Sreta Tawisin on Tuesday, August 22, following more than 3 months of political deadlock. Sreta garnered 482 votes out of the 375 threshold required to be prime minister. Cambodia has also selected its new prime minister by appointing 45-year-old 4-star General Hun Manet, the son of outgoing Premier Hun Sen, to be its future leader. Sreta and Hun Manet vowed to work together and strengthen the bilateral relations of their respective countries during the course of their leadership. Disha Nanisa de Guzman, Rangan Chakuntep Mahanapon, SMNI News, Protect Thai, Sawadika.
In connection, industry leaders urged the new Prime Minister of Thailand to hasten the process of organizing his government to address pressing economic challenges waiting to be solved after months of political deadlock. Chatmangkon Pesay Mugoson has the details.
Incoming Prime Minister Sreta Tawisin faces attacks of revitalizing Thailand after months of political stalemate limited the government from achieving economic expansion. The business community urged the newly appointed leader to hasten the process of organizing a new government to promptly address a sequence of pressing challenges. These economic challenges include fragile exports, a looming drought crisis, managing high household debt, as well as giving assistance to struggling small and medium-sized enterprises, or SMEs. The chairman of the Federation of Thailand Industries, or FTI, expressed the need for Sreta and his cabinet to begin work immediately to revitalize the national economy. Meanwhile, the chairman of the Thai National Shippers Council stressed the need for the new government to focus on solutions to weak exports, the looming drought crisis, and uneven economic conditions. Moreover, the president of the Thai Hotels Association believes it is better to establish a new government immediately to allow the industry to prepare for a stronger influx of tourists in the next 3 months. Several world leaders, on the other hand, conveyed their greetings to the incoming Prime Minister and expressed their willingness to expand bilateral ties under the new government of Thailand. รายงานจากราชบุรี นายชัดมงคล พิสมัยโกศล SMNI News ประเทศไทย สวัสดีครับ
In Davao City, a farm has transformed jackfruit trees into a fence, resulting in substantial profits. Here's MJ Mondihar tells us more.
In the Philippines, it's common to have fences around houses. These fences are usually made of metal or concrete. But
Here in Calinan, Davao City, is a different story for this property that covers over 1 hectare. They've turned jackfruit trees into a fence, and it's not just any fence, it's a source of significant earnings.
So mga kababayan, ito po yung halimbawa ng sinabi ni Sir Nel na yung jackfruit ay ginawa niyang koral.
Opo, nasa boundary lang po.
According to Nel Belvis of Belvis Farms, they produce giant jackfruit.
So, straight dito sir, sa bakod po ninyo, jackfruit ito lahat?
Yes po, diretso po. So this farm around 1.6, around I think 120 to 130 trees ang nakapaikot sa farm.
He further explains that jackfruit farming can be quite profitable. The key is to learn the best practices and take a hands-on approach to nurturing the plants.
More or less for the jackfruit, we have around in this area around 120, 130 trees. Each tree has around potential to grow around 20 fruits, 15 to 20 fruits. Each fruit is around 20 kilos. So 100 times 20. Tapos binibenta namin yung process. Yung pinaprocess, hindi kasi kami nagbebenta dito as fresh for processed goods. Ang frozen jackfruit. Siguro around mga 1 to 2 M for this area.
While jackfruit trees serves as a fence, durian trees, on the other hand, are planted in the middle of the farm. Despite the 1.1 hectare size of Belvis Farms, their durian and jackfruit yield is worthwhile. Palawan 2nd District Representative Jose Chavez Alvarez brought South Palawan officials to Belvis Farms. Local officials are part of the Congressman's lifelong livelihood program. Here, they learn various good practices in durian and jackfruit farming. The purpose of this all-expense-paid tour is for them to bring this knowledge back to Palawan.
Pinakita po ninyo yung actual na resulta ng farming. Hindi lang theory, hindi lang kwento. Talagang dinala nyo dito yung...
Pinakain ko pa sa kanila yung produkto. Pinakain natin. There is hope. Now, having that hope in their lives, because karamihan ito mga barangay captain, they thrive on 10 to 15,000 per month from the barangay. What will that amount to in 1 year? If you have minimum 500,000 o kung magawa mo pang 2 hektarya, hindi kung may factory doon yung langka, imbis na 10-20 na ang presyo, magiging 1 milyon, di ba? Ang kikitain nila.
The lifelong livelihood program focuses on durian and jackfruit farming. It also involves planting pomelo or suha. Under the program, Congressman Alvarez provides free seedlings and continuous technical assistance. The legislature aims to cultivate high-value crops like fruit trees on all lands in Palawan.
We're giving them audacity of hope. In 5 years' time, they become not multi-millionaires, but with cash on hand. So we hope that in Southern Palawan, this will be the beginning, and this will spread to the other parts of the country. Kasi pag nagtanim ka ng high-value crop, sa iyo na yan eh. Forever yan. Hand me down yan to the next generation.
For God Amable of Philippines, MJ Mondehap, SMNI News.
Jose Maria College Foundation Incorporated in Davao City welcomes thousands of students as it formally opens the school year 2023 to 2024. Let's find out more about this with Jean Domingo.
An overwhelming number of students came on site on Tuesday to attend the first day of school at the Josemaria College Foundation, incorporated in Davao City. Thousands of students from preschool to elementary, junior high school, and senior high school came with bright faces as they were excited to attend the opening of the new school year of 2023 to 2024, with much anticipation to meet their classmates, find new friends, and stroll along the beautiful landscapes of JMCFI and access on its world-class facilities for better learning experience. The J. Marians express how thrilled they are to be back at school for face-to-face learning. The series of interviews with the students show their expectations and hopes for the new school year. Moreover, the college students had their first day orientation virtually.
Mga virtual J. Marians today.
The program was broadcasted live on Facebook and YouTube, where students actively participated in the discussion about basic school policies, the core values, and the JMCFI culture of excellence, taught by the founding president, Reverend Dr. Pastor Apollo Sikibuloy, who has been the source of light and inspiration to the whole JMCFI community, including its students. On the second day, back-to-back student orientation programs were simultaneously organized in various venues to inform the students with significant school updates and general policies. Meanwhile, the school registrar also reported that the total number of enrollees already surpassed the projected goal for the school year, as JMCFI offers face-to-face and flexible learning options with assured, consistent, quality brand of education. Enrollment is still ongoing until August 31, and JMCFI is still open to accept aspiring student scholars. For more details and inquiries, please visit www.jmc.edu.ph and follow JMCFI on social media via facebook.com/Josemaria College. For Newsline World, this has been Jean Domingo, SMNI News.
Pastor Apollo C. Kibuloy expressed opinion and proposed halt to free college education program. Meanwhile, the good pastor favors the removal of wall decorations in classrooms as ordered by the Education Department. Daniela Paulite has the details.
State colleges and universities that openly support the terrorist groups Communist Party of the Philippines, New People's Army National Democratic Front or CPP, NPA, NDF should have their free tuition privileges revoked, according to Pastor Apollo C. Kibuloy of the Kingdom of Jesus Christ. This statement comes in response to the issue of halting the free college education program. Pastor Apollo emphasized that not all universities should be subjected to the removal of free education. Instead, he suggests that it should apply only to universities blatantly supporting the CPP, NPA, and DF.
Yung state university tulad ng UP na hindi nila pinipigilan ang mga makakaliwang grupo na mag-recruit para sa CPP, NP, NDF, yun ang dapat kunan ng tuition. Pero yung mga state universities na pinipigilan ng ganito at binabantayan na hindi makapasok ang mga komunistang grupong sumisira sa kabataan, wag.
Earlier, Finance Secretary Benjamin Jokno had stated that the universal access to quality tertiary education or free college education is anti-poor as it requires a substantial budget. Meanwhile, Pastor Apollo supports the directive of Vice President and Education Secretary Sara Duterte to keep the interior of classrooms clean without decorations, tarps, or posters. This is to help students focus on their studies. The good pastor also voiced his support for the Vice President.
Tama, para walang distraction. At walang makapagsabit ng kung ano man doon o hindi naman kinakailangan. Magaling ang sinabi ng ating Education Secretary at the same time Vice President, Sara Zimmerman Duterte. We support her for that.
For God and my beloved country, this has been Daniela Paulite, SMNI News.
Pastor Apollo C. Kibuloy has something to say regarding the criticism surrounding the COA report on President Bongbong Marcos' travel expenses. Angel Pastor tells us more.
President Bongbong Marcos earned various criticisms and reactions following an annual Commission and Audit report stating that there was a significant increase in the president's travel expenses compared to the 36 million pesos worth of expenses last 2021. The said report also earned a reaction from Pastor Apollo, who aired his comments in his Give Us His Day program on Thursday.
It's upon the discretion of the president to travel and discretion of the DBM or Department of Budget to raise that. And of course, there will be critics that will try to criticize some of these decisions. Lahat ng gagawin mo riyan na may kaugnayan sa pera ng taong bayan ay may talagang scrutiny. Meron tayong freedom of expression, kasi a public trust is a public office and you are like a public property. Anyone can comment about what you are doing, especially if they are giving their taxes.
Pastor Apollo also said the importance of the president's foreign trips to improve the economy by promoting and encouraging other countries to invest in the Philippines.
Merong commission on audit na pwedeng doon ilahad ang lahat. So, sa travel na yan, kinakailangan din naman ng isang Pangulo ng bansa na makipag-ugnayan sa Community of Nations para makilala ang ating bansa at magkaroon sila ng pagkakataong makapag-invest sa bansang ito para sa ikaunlad ng ating ekonomiya. Yun ang pakay marahil ng Pangulo kung bakit niya tinatanggap ang napakaraming mga imbitasyon na dumarating sa kanya para ma-promote din ang ating bansang Pilipinas.
Meanwhile, Pastor Apollo also gave advice to those who criticized the president's travel expenses, particularly leftist legislators.
Dapat ang unang magbigay ng reaksyon ng Pangulo kasi siyang kinriticize ni Arlene Roxas ng Gabriela. At alam naman natin si Arlene Roxas ng Gabriela kung sino yan eh.
Yes.
Di ba?
Amen.
Isa yan sa Cobra Black, di ba? Makabayan Black. At palaging may mga kritisismo talaga yan sila. At ang iba na isyong magagamit nila, gagamitin talaga para sa ganang ganon. Oh. Kung ako ang presidente at ako nasa lugar ngayon ng presidente at binatikos akong ganito ng isang ganito na parang nagmamahal sa bayan, ayaw namang kondinahin ng CPP and PNDF dahil may karugtong pusod sila. Ang sasabihin ko?
Ano po?
Anong sasabihin ko?
Opo, Pastor.
Ikaw na magpresidente. Yun namang hindi nagbibigay ng tax, huwag na kayo mag-comment. Wala kayong karapatan mag-comment. Pero yung nagbibigay ng mga taxes na ginagamit ng isang public official tulad ng presidente, pwede sila mag-comment. Pero mababalansin naman yun ng Pangulo ng isang presidente kung ano ang kanyang dapat na ihatid at ipaliwanag sa taong bayan kung ano yung mga kritisismo tinatanggap niya. Nasa sa kanya niya.
For God and my beloved Philippines, Angel Pastor, SMNI News.
Pastor Apollo C. Kibuloy and SMNI News channel wins big at the recently concluded awarding ceremonies this Friday night. Jason Rubrico reports.
Pastor Apollo C. Kibuloy and SMNI News took home not just one, but 4 awards in the 7th year of the Outstanding Men and Women of the Philippines and the Philippine Outstanding Brand of the Year. Pastor Apollo C. Kibuloy and his leading broadcast company SMNI News Channel continue to reap honors and accolades from various award-giving bodies. Held at the Music Museum in Green Hills, San Juan City this Friday night, Pastor Apollo and SMNI received 4 awards at the 7th Outstanding Men and Women of the Philippines and the Philippine Outstanding Brand of the Year Awards. First, Pastor Apollo was honored as a spiritual leader and an advocate of peace and nation building.
No need naman natin sabihin kung ano pang description for Pastor Kibuloy. Napaka-good example siya sa mga kapwa Pilipino. At napaka-magandang halimbawa talaga siya. Nagbibigay siya ng magandang advice, magandang example sa mga Pinoy na tulad ko.
Lalo na for nation building.
Lalo na for the nation building actually. Nakikita ko naman si Pastor Kibuloy talagang gumagawa ng nationwide campaign lalo na sa mga charity works. Yun ang isa sa pinaka gusto ko na ginagawa ni Pastor Kibuloy. Talagang napakagandang halimbawa. Hindi lang pang sarili pero nagbibigay din siya ng magandang halimbawa sa ibang tao.
Meanwhile, SMNI continues to receive accolades for its truthful, unbiased reporting and genuine public service. SMNI News won the News Channel of the Year Award at the Philippine Outstanding Brand of the Year event. Award-winning program hosts of SMNI's Pinoy Legal Minds, Attorney Mark Tolentino and MJ Mondejar, have also added more laurels to their accomplishments. Both were recognized at the 7th Outstanding Men and Women of the Philippines Awards.
SMNI is, alam mo naman, very credible. Maganda kasi yung TV station ninyo at saka makatuturan din ang mga palabas ninyo.
Thank you so much to the award-giving body for recognizing Pastor Apollo C. Kibuloy and the SMNI as one of the most outstanding men and women of the Philippines 2023. And to my beloved pastor, this is another token to your exemplary contribution to the greater good of our country. Sir, you are most deserving of this award. Congratulations, Pastor.
This award is not about us, but it is an extension of the credibility of our management, especially to our beloved pastor, Pastor Apollo C. Kibuloy. Pastor, wala pong Pinoy Legal Minds kung hindi po dahil sa inyong pagtitiwala. Ginagawa po ng programa ang lahat para makapagbigay po at makapag-extend ng public service sa pagsagot po ng mga legal questions at pagtuturo ng mga kaalaman batay sa batas every weekend. Ang lahat na ito, Pastor, ay hindi po magagawa ng Pinoy Legal Minds dahil po sa inyo. At in behalf po ng programa na inyo pong binuo para po sa ating mga kababayan, katuwang po si Kuya Mark, Attorney Mark Tolentino, kami po ay nagpapasalamat sa tiwala na inyong pinagkaloob at ang award na ito, Pastor, ang Pinoy Legal Minds sa inyo pong programa at ito ang lahat ay dahil po sa inyo. Maraming salamat po, sir, sa pagtitiwala.
Pastor Apollo is known as a staunch peace advocate and has been at the forefront of promoting the interest of the Philippines. Through SMNI, the good pastor has expressed his support for the government's programs and projects aimed at the country's development. For God and my beloved Philippines, I am Jason Hugo, SMNI News.
And before we end, may you be inspired with the message of the appointed Son of God. Water cleanses, the fire purifies. And that's all for today's edition of Newsline World. For more news update, you may visit SMNINewsChannel.com or follow us on our official social media accounts in Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. For God and my beloved country, the Philippines, I'm Vhal Divinagracia. Thank you for watching Newsline World, and thank you to our beloved pastor, Pastor Apollo C. Kibuloy, for the opportunity to be a part of this program. May you continue to listen in SMNI as it delivers nothing but fair, truthful, and balanced news, because SMNI is your source of credible news.